Good, af- good afternoon, Gossip Talk Shows family. It's Nomsa here at Gossip Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lit from within. So I'm on my own today again, guys. Carol Ann, she's not feeling very well. So our topic today is breaking relationship chains. So today I'm going to recognize the pattern and understanding the roots of the problem and understanding the power of communication. Communication is the critical component of any relationship if we want it to work. And nurturing trust and respect within each other, cultivating empathy, managing conflict and constructive, and rediscovering romance, prioritize self-care, building a strong relation foundation, and letting go of resentment and fostering mature growth, rekindling intimacy, overcoming external pressure. There's so much pressure in this world, and sustaining positive change, embracing harmonious future. In order for the relationship to work, we have to embrace what the future brings and what the present moment has, and we have to be grateful. So I'm going to cover that. And guys, if I don't cover it, don't worry. We can always do part 2. So how do we recognize the pattern in a relationship? Breaking bad habit in a relationship is you have to go to a journey of self-awareness. Once you go to a journey of self-awareness, and also is very, very crucial to actually take the first step towards the positive change. And often some people, they find themselves trapped in a cycle of behavior that can lead to dissatisfaction, that can leave somebody really, really frustrated, that can leave someone with a heartache. Whether it's a repetitive argument, sometimes it could be a really, really repetitive argument, or sometimes a consistent feeling, somebody feeling that they're not being unheard. And if you feel that way in a relationship, you feel that you are not being unheard, because sometimes the people that we are dating or the people that we have a relationship with, they might actually put a blind eye, not wanting to act, and ears, or a blind ear, and not wanting to listen to what we're saying to them. So it's very, very important to actually pay attention of your spouse, what they are saying. And even if it doesn't make sense, don't make them feel that whatever they're saying, it does not make sense. Try to understand their point of view, where they come from, where they are coming from, that message, and just sit down and just listen to them. Because when you take time to listen to somebody, they feel worthy, they feel heard. But if you say, oh, it doesn't make sense, mostly men don't like to talk about feelings. If anyone is listening, guys, if you are a man who loves to talk about feelings, please type. And I love to hear, so that the other audience can read your message and actually learn from that. And because sometimes men don't want to confront things that makes them uncomfortable in a relationship, but it's very, very, very important to actually listen to somebody when they're talking to you. Is very, very important to communicate, because when you don't communicate, is building a wall between two people. So that person will be like, why should I communicate with this person? Why they never listen anyway? So they end up building a wall to protect themselves in a relationship. Even if there is something important that they want to communicate with you, they end up not communicating with you because they they know that they are not going to be heard. So it's very, very important to actually to actually show your interest in somebody else, and also emotionally be available, and also recognize the behavior, the cycle. Through that, the problems, there will be cycle that you have to that they become automatic. And sometimes it's the frustration when somebody is frustrated and they feel unheard. So every time they think about it, there will be automatic trigger, and then the behavior. So you have to be aware of that. And so by the end of this video, I'm hoping that you'll be able to have gained heightened awareness of relationship dynamic, and you found of determination to break free from destructive patterns, because these destructive patterns can actually destroy a relationship. And also we need to understand the root cause of it. What are the root cause of these problems where the chains are created? So we have to understand the root cause, where the origin, where they come from, where these negative chains, where do they come from? Sometimes they come from our childhood. Sometimes they come from people feeling that they are not enough, or if somebody feels that, or sometimes it could be unresolved conflict in a relationship, or sometimes it could be past traumas that we have not dealt with. If we have past traumas we have not dealt with, that will cause the problem. And unmet emotional needs. If I'm feeling that my emotional needs have not been met, it will cause problems in a relationship. It can actually contribute to the behavior that hinder connection and intimacy. Intimacy is very, very important in a relationship. But when two people are disconnected, that can cause problems. So we have to make sure that we don't disconnect ourselves to each other. The relationship does not get disconnected. And you know, when to make sure that the relationship does not get our emotions that do not get disconnected, is when you meet somebody for the first time, you get excited meeting that person. You know, they tell you their story, you tell them their story, and you sympathize with each other, and then you, like, this person goes, you know what, I cannot wait to go on a second date with this guy or with this girl, because she gets me. She actually, we are so, when we speak, she listens and she gets me and he gets me and things like that. The connection is met. So when that time, when the connection is met and you go out on dates, you wanna get to know more about each other, ask questions, you get excited, you're like, oh wow, you can't wait to see their parents, you can't wait to meet families, or if they've got children, you can't wait to meet their children. the excitement goes on and on and on. But then maybe 2 years later, people no longer communicate. Or maybe somebody's holding unforgiveness. Or maybe somebody, like you, as I mentioned, past trauma, maybe this person had bad times in their past relationship and they have not dealt with. So now the person that they are dating in that present moment, they end up paying the price for the wounds that were done in the past. You cannot wound your spouse with your past wounds. It's important to make sure that if you feel that you have been wounded in the past, it's important to deal with those wounds. It's important to get a therapist, professional therapist, work on the problems so that when you date somebody, you don't judge them based on the past. So that part is very, 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 very important to make sure that we're dealing with our past trauma. And the other thing that is very, very important is to not to lose ourselves. When we enter a relationship, we have this amazing personality. We work on ourselves, we want to look good. We go to the gym. Some people, they go to church. When they meet a man, they meet a woman who's not a Christian, they end up stopping going to church and they lose themselves. They end up stopping going to the gym because maybe this person that they've met doesn't go to the gym, end up losing themselves and connecting with their friends. They stop connecting with their friends. And because they're into this relationship, but then in the process along the way, you realize that maybe something is missing within that relationship. And when you realize that something is missing within the relationship, that's when you realize that you're unhappy. And when you realize that you're unhappy, self-love. And maybe you don't love yourself enough. You stop loving yourself. And that can destroy a relationship. And also, we can explore the concept of emotional baggage. Emotional baggage, actually, guys, when we talk about this, you can buy my book on my website as well. So, emotional baggage. Okay, I have to mention my book is on the website. It's all about emotional baggage. So if you want to work on your emotions and understand how emotional baggage influence interactive with others, you can get the book and reflect on your past experiences and insecurities that come with that baggage. It's very, very important to go back to your past. When you go back to your past, you begin to unravel the complexity of of your past behavior. And once you deal with your past, or sometimes it could be there isn't a problem, or sometimes it could be, when we are children, we have this confidence, we can do anything. But then when we get older, we start protecting ourselves. We start not looking after ourselves properly. We start worrying about what people think, and we start listening to the noise of I'm not enough, or starting comparing ourselves with other people. And comparison, it can become your identity. when we compare our life with others. And we look at their car, we think, oh wow, I should be driving that car. We look at the people that they date, we like, why are they dating these people? Why are they in a relationship? I'm not in a relationship. And then when you find yourself in a relationship, and then you find that you will still compare, because that has become your identity. So if you don't break those habits, they can become your identity. So once you decide to break the habit and break the chains, and then you move forward with your life, and without blame as well. It's very, very important not to blame yourself, not to blame others. Just focus uh, on journey of discovering yourself. Is very essential to actually foster empathy, not only towards your spouse, but also towards yourself. Is very, 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 very important, because the journey that we take is sometimes it can be really, 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 it can be really, really a very, very challenging journey. So it's very, very important to actually take good care of yourself, take time to reflect on your past. Um, um, Journaling as well is very, very important. Journal, keep your thoughts, write down your thoughts and feelings about your relationship. What do you feel? If you feel that there is something that needs to be written down about your interactions and your disagreement and moments of connections, I've learned this the hard way. I don't disagree with somebody in a relationship, and I cut my expectations, because the person that I'm dating, they're a human being. And if we agree to disagree, if they don't want to do something, I don't force them, and I don't expect them to do the things that I don't want to, that they don't want to do. So what I do is I mind myself. I work on myself. And if somebody does not want to do something, obviously when you date somebody, you are going to have to do activities with your spouse. That one, they cannot get out of it. Is either if they don't want to do activities, they shouldn't be in the relationship. But there are some things where when you ask somebody to do something with you and they don't want to do it, so the character, our characters are different. Like me and my spouse, our characters are different. We are two different people. For me, I don't like a complication. I don't complicate things. I have a choice of, if I have to do something, I get on with it. I go and do it. And I don't do it because I want somebody else to do it, or family, hanging around with family. I just go and do it. Like my father-in-law is in a care home. So if I say to my spouse, let's go and see your dad, if we say I'm busy, I just go on my own, because I'm creating my memories. So those kind of things, the little things, or sometimes when you may say, oh, let's go and do this, and this person says, no, I don't want to do it, I just want to stay at home. So they have right to actually choose how they want to live their lives. But what we intend to do when somebody says they don't want to do something, we get angry. Why can't they want to do something? So I don't do all those things. I used to do that, but I don't do all those things. I have to be a good example to my children, and I have to be a good example to my clients, to the person that I'm dating. So if they say that, oh no, I don't want to do this, I leave them alone and I get on it and do it. And also is very, very important to seek feedback talk to a trusted friend, the friend that you trust. or members of family who may provide you insight into patterns that you might not see your perspective sometimes, or outsiders' views can shed a light on repetitive behavior. So if there is a behavior that you do, so ask feedback from people. And I did ask once, I never asked for feedback, but my ex said to me, Nomsa, when you want to do something, you are really, really annoying. Really, really annoying. So I said to him, why am I annoying? And he said, you are annoying, but you get things done. The reason why I do that, sometimes people find me annoying, is when I want to do something, or if we have to do something, to me, you either do it or you don't. There's no excuse. But if it's something that you have to do it, that you cannot get out, there's no excuse, just get on with it. So what I do is I send a message. If I want things to be done, I send a message. Have you done this? Is this been done? If it's not been done, or if there is an appointment where we need to go, like with the children, you have to, when you do things for the children, you can't do it, even though with my ex, we don't live with him. If I'm doing things with the kids, with my daughter, it has to be there. If it's something that is important, if it's a memory that is being created, I want him there. If he is in the country, I want him there to create memories with his daughter. The reason why it's very, very important to make sure that somebody gets involved is because you don't want them, number one, to miss the memories, and you don't want them to think that they are being left out. So that's why I just make sure that get involved. But if they themselves, they say, no, actually, I'm not available on this day, I cannot do it. But as long I have asked somebody to get involved, so that's what I do. I always communicate. Sometimes I get told off, but I always communicate. As long as that person, because sometimes people tell you off, they pretend not to, no, they pretend not to tell you, not to getting the message, but they do. I was talking to my brother yesterday, and he was telling me something in my family that people were saying and stuff, and I was saying, you know what? I did not want to get involved because people sometimes don't speak the truth. And when it comes to relationship, always speak your own truth in your relationship, but not in an arrogant way. To be able to break the chains, you have to recognize that the person that you are dating, they are your best friend. They are not your enemy. They are your best friend. If you cannot speak the truth to your own best friend, of course they have their friends that they have, but if you have a wife, your wife she's your queen. Your husband, she's your king. And you should be able to actually communicate with them. And sometimes people, they feel, you know what, I'm not going to communicate with this person because the moment I open my mouth, they're just going to tell me that they're not going to hear me. So for me, what I do is I don't give up on people. Even in this house, they'll tell me that I am the most, that's how they describe me. So if anyone wants to comment, is this annoying? They say I'm the most annoying person because I don't leave things unsaid. Not in a good way, though. If I want to say something, I don't yep all the time. If there's something that I need doing, like let's say everybody has a gadget these days. It's only my youngest one who hasn't. My daughter, she's 16 and she has her own gadgets. Her dad has got his own gadgets. I have my own gadgets. My youngest one hasn't got a gadget. She just have a tablet where she does the homework, and that tablet is for homework only. um Simple, we got the tablet because we had a choice. She does private homework, but through that private homework with Kumo, it requires you either you have to mark after she's finished the homework, you mark it yourself. But if he does it, or she does it through the tablet, you download the app, and then the homework can be marked automatic by them. So I was like, it sounds good. I did try the paper, but it didn't work. It was taking my time. So I was like, it sounds good to get a tablet, and then so we can mark the homework. So if everybody is doing their own thing, and if I want my time with my family, I'm not afraid to say, guys, gadgets down, family time. Or if there is something, I watch TV once in a while, or if there is a film that comes out, that has come out, I say, guys, let's get ice cream and let's watch the film. That means that one that is playing the game there, he gets told game off. That means the other person that is doing whatever they are doing, they get told, come, let's get together. Because it's very, very important to actually make sure that people are involved in whatever you do. Or even if it's school, I'm always there when it comes to school, solving problems and school. When my daughter, like, let's say, goes to school, when they are doing school activities, I'm always there. And so what happens is I always let them know what is happening. And when you communicate with somebody, make sure that even though they are be negative, make sure you don't give up on that person, because sometimes their attitude that you give to people, that person might actually say, you know what? This is the right attitude, and adopt that attitude and use it for themselves. So don't give up on people. I'm not saying just change people. We're not in a relationship to change anyone. We are there to motivate each other, to mentor each other, to be best friend with each other. So it's very, very important to make sure we identify what triggers this behavior, the conflicts, because conflicts can destroy a relationship. Trust me, can destroy a relationship. I don't do the fighting. Maybe I just have like argument maybe twice a year or maybe once a year with my spouse. But the argument is not that. The argument is when I'm speaking to somebody and they ignore me, they're not taking me serious. I don't like to be ignored, because I know that if they ignore me, my feelings, if I feel that my feelings have not been met, or somebody is not listening, that could destroy our relationship. So it's very, very important to actually make sure that you communicate with each other, identify the triggers in your relationship. Emotional response. Take note to your emotions, and when you identify, do you often feel hurt when you talk to your spouse? And that's when the meditation comes in. Sometimes we feel hurt when we communicate with our spouse or when they say something. I'm teaching my children not to use sometimes they can be really negative when they speak to each other, or sometimes their dad can be like, they can just agree in negativity within each other. So I'm in the process of teaching them the words, but the words that we speak, they become reality. So monitor your emotions. When somebody says something, do you feel hurt? And that's when it is very, very important to Christians. You know what I'm talking about when I say crucify your flesh. It means you live in the spirit and not in the flesh. And then you cannot get hurt. When you understand the reason why people get hurt is because we have these expectations that people should know better. They shouldn't say these things, but people do say things. So when you actually, for me, what helps me is to fast. I fast a lot, like right now. I think there is millions and millions of us around the world that are fasting for 70 days. MFA churches worldwide. So we are fasting for 70 days. When you fast, just meditating in the word of God, it helps not to respond. It helps you to choose how you respond to every situation. Because sometimes our emotions can actually, they can be triggered, like you respond to every fight that comes your way. Sometimes some fight battles are not ours. So sometimes you have to choose how you respond. You can choose, like, when you go to the shops, you buy clothes. When you buy clothes, you look at the clothes, you're like, this one looks good. I'm gonna wear it. And then when you try another one, this one looks good, or this one doesn't. Emotions are the messages, like when you talk to people, it is like that. When the message goes into your subconscious mind, it can trigger a really hurtful emotions and feelings. So it's very, very important to pick and choose the information that you can respond to, and delete whatever is not necessary. I delete. So there are some people in this world that are really, really negative. When it comes to life, there are some people who enter your life to build you. There are some people who are negative, who don't want to change. They are really, really negative. And there are some people who enter your life to motivate you, to build you, they bring growth to your life. God sends them as angels. So we have to respond. We have to make sure that how we respond to every situation, even in a relationship, is like that. There are some things that we can respond to, but there are some things that we cannot respond. What I'm saying is, don't ignore your spouse if they are communicating with you. When they are communicating with you, if you feel that the message is not for you and you don't really want to get involved in it, just make sure that you explain to them that, honey, not at this moment. I don't really feel that this is whatever is necessary. Don't compare your relationship with anyone. Don't compare different relationship with your relationship. And when you have friends, and that's why I have this thing where when I go out with my friends, I don't talk about my spouse. The reason why I don't talk about my spouse is very, very important to know that, because when you date somebody, if they do something that you don't like and you don't communicate with them, you go and communicate with somebody else. It doesn't solve any problem, but it is best if you communicate with the person instead of comparing your relationship, or maybe saying to your friends, oh, your relationship is better than mine. And even if because sometimes we see other people, we think they are happy, but they're not. So, and then we start comparing our spouse because we want our spouse to behave in the same way like our friend's spouse behave. Because when we go out, we talk about our experiences. Sometimes some people, they even compare how much the sex, how many times they have sex, how many times their spouse they have sex with them and their friends. And sometimes people compare their houses, their clothing, they compare so many things, and then they end up not being happy in their relationship. That brings bad habit in a relationship. So never ever compare your relationship with somebody else. So relationship is very, very important. And also, if you feel that these chains are too much to bear, seek professional help. I think Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency, you can seek help for coaching, and that we can provide guidance for you to identify and understand your relationship patterns. And also, it's very, very, very important to actually, when you enter a relationship, to actually understand growth, what you are becoming in that relationship. And also, if the other person is changing and don't feel threatened about it with growth, be open to change as well. Once you identify the patterns, be take step by step for growth, so you can work towards breaking those patterns and replace them with the healthier behaviors. If your spouse, like we were talking the other day at the here, and Rachel was saying, the thing that destroyed her relationship was she became this woman who dedicated her life to personal development growth, and she took her training as a coach, and she was, through that course, she was rediscovering herself, and at the same time she was having this joy, this happiness of the person that she was becoming. And that person has always been there. When we rediscover who we are, that person is not that that person is something new. It means that person has always been there, but we have not had the courage, that person would not had the courage to rediscover who they really are, embracing themselves and who they are becoming. Inner child, listen to inner child. And so that destroyed her relationship because her spouse couldn't, her ex could not put up with it. So it does happen a lot. When that happens, make sure that, like myself, I always make sure I'm not sure what happens. No matter how much I grow, it does not affect the people that I live with, because I grow. My growth is not just it's not just me walking alone. I walk with God. So there is this thing where I understand where I'm going, and I have to understand where other people are when it comes to a relationship, when it comes to emotional, and when it comes to their mindset as well. So I have to understand that we are not in the same, we are in the same, but I am discovering myself. And in order for them to discover themselves, I have to play a part where I'm a mentor, no criticizing them. So that's what I do. I don't feel somebody threatened with my presence. I fit in wherever I go. The only place where I don't fit in is where, if I go to a place where people are very negative, I don't say anything. I let them be negative and just make sure that I do not hang out with those people that are negative. But if they are negative, because sometimes people they get negative because they no confidence, they because of confidence. So I try to find it out if I can be any help. So, but not as a coach. So those things are very, very important to actually recognize the way people are when it comes to mindset, so they don't feel threatened. It's like where I where I go with my friends, like when it comes to music, I've got friends that I hang out, musicians that we hang out with. So I have to see where we are when it comes to mindset. Where are they when it comes to mindset, so they don't feel threatened by my presence, because sometimes the people can feel threatened. So I always make sure that they know that I love them, I have their back. So it's very, very important if you feel that be open to change, to be open to change as well is very, very, very important. When you take time to recognize patterns, and it's very, very important. For me, the patterns, my bad habit I always talk about was my dad and my stepdad and my mom. With my stepmom, we were close, but not very, we were very close, but not very emotionally. We were disconnected because of my relationship with my dad. It wasn't after she died, that's when I actually I would have fixed it, but it was too late because I was young, I couldn't understand. When my mom and my dad divorced, I was the last born with my mom and dad. So I became close to my dad as the youngest person hanging out with my family. But I think that caused problems, I don't know. But after now, later on, when I'm in my own relationship, that caused problems because those were the bad habits that I was carrying, that I did no one meant to tell me off. Not meant to tell me off, actually. I wasn't used to see people fighting in a relationship. Something to me, it was something new that I didn't know that existed. I didn't see my stepdad and my mom fighting, but all I saw when I was growing up was the communication. My stepdad would speak his mind with my mom and they'll communicate in front of us. They wouldn't fight, but it's not that they didn't fight. They did fight in the bedroom without us there. So they did fight, but I don't know. I didn't know anything about it. Even my dad and my stepmom, I didn't know that they did fought in a relationship. So when I enter a relationship, when there is a fight, now there is conflict, I'll get confused. I wouldn't know how to deal with it. So those were the bad habits that I carried from my childhood, that I did not know how to deal with the fight. I'll get scared when a man actually raises their voice. I'll get scared because I'm not used to it. So those are the things that affected me in my relationship until actually I had to deal with it. I had to work on it. I had to work on myself to understand that the people are individual. Yes, there are some men who raises their voices. My father never raised his voice on me. It's not that I was spoiled. I wasn't a spoiled child. I can guarantee you that. That's what I do, what I do. It was because of my dad. My dad was a he will come in and explain to me if I was doing something wrong. He will come and explain to me. So me and my dad, we had this relationship where he is a teacher. So he will get up at 4 a.m. When he get up at 4 a.m. is when would wake me up. I don't know why he was thinking, I was so young, he wake me up. So we have a father and daughter's time where I talk about my problems, where we are together, we bond together. Sometimes we talk about things that makes me happy, ask questions. So I never really see a man raising his voice. And then I go to my mom has maybe 12 brothers. And I never see my uncles raises their voice. And then I go to my stepdad now. My stepdad comes from a big family as well. Never saw my stepdad raising his voice in the house. He would just explain the man loved to preach. He would start preaching the consequences of doing the wrongs and why he married his wife and all those things. The list goes on. So, but then now that I'm starting to date men, if a man raises a voice on me, to me, it was unforgivable. It was unforgivable. I would be like, why would you raise your voice on me? So I couldn't understand. I get confused. So until then, later on, when I started getting into Paul McKenna's program in psychology, and that's when I realized actually we are all individual. People react to the situation in different ways. So I need to actually understand that my dad was my dad, and I'm never going to date my dad. So those are the things that I had to actually recognized in a relationship. And the bad habit, it wasn't bad habit, it was childhood attachment where I just wanted men to be gentle. Yeah, but that's true. Actually, men should be gentle to the women. You can't raise your voice to a woman. So to me, it was something new. It was something that I didn't grow up with. I didn't have a excellent. There's no such thing as an excellent childhood, but I had a normal childhood where my parents love to have love. To them, love is important. Sitting with somebody, communicating. Like my grandmother, I was 6 years old. I don't know what she was thinking as well. She would tell me her relationship with my grandfather, how they got married, and things like that. Those are the stories that I grew up with my family. But then it does affect you in a relationship. And I also met clients that they suffer through relationship because their parents divorce. And when parents divorce, they start blaming themselves that I was the reason why my parents divorced, but they are not the reason why. And that when they enter relationship, it end up affecting them because they think the same thing is going to happen to their relationship, and that actually ends up happening because they are holding on to that something. You can't take the blame of two people in a relationship. My mom and dad divorced, and if I was to ask my mom, why did you and my dad divorced, it would be like, you'll be like staying the whole day listening to my mom or listening to my dad. But the good thing is it's not our fault when our parents divorce. It's not our fault. These are two people that meet each other without us, and then they promise each other whatever they promise each other. But things don't work out according to plan, so that's why they divorced. It's not because of the children, or it's because they don't get along. My dad is a charming man. So when they got married with my dad, with my mom, they were very young. My dad, I think he was older. I think he was 20. My mom was my dad, I think he was 25. And I think my mom is younger than my dad. So when they got married, they were really, really young. And at that moment, and my dad is just charming. Women loves him. He's just always smiling. He was a man that was always smiling. And he was this proper African man that they don't have. My dad has the attitude that when I have my children, I have to raise my children. My family, my dad has this thing where his family got to get involved to his children, get to know his children. His wife, he has to be a housewife, because no idea. But my mom was like, I don't want to be a housewife. I want to go back to uni. I want to work. So that's why there was conflict. So that's why they ended up divorcing. And also they were young, wanting different things. So that is it my fault? It's not. So you can't blame yourself when you're older in a relationship and start blaming yourself. It destroys a relationship. And it also, it's important to talk to a therapist, somebody professional. People think, why should I go and talk to somebody my problems? I don't need it. Most is men. They say, I do not need to talk to a therapist because there's nothing wrong. Talking to a therapist, it does not mean that there is something wrong. It's just very, very important to break the chains, the roots, the foundation, what we plant in that tree of our destiny. Once things go wrong in that foundation, it can cause affliction. It can cause stuckness in a relationship. It can cause conflict. It can cause hatred. Even though these people, they got together, they love each other, but if the foundation of a relationship is not right, they will end up with conflict. They will end up with hatred against each other. So it's very, very important to make sure that the foundation in our relationship is dealt with. So that's where you go to a therapist, to go to, when you go to a therapist, like we have a family tree, that family tree has a foundation of it. So the relationship has a foundation, how it began, the process of that relationship, how the relationship is developed every single day. If we, in that foundation, we put words that kills a relationship. Words become things. That's why I always say to people, speak life to your life, speak life to your relationship, life that will keep your relationship alive. And if you feel that, and also if you feel that you're not being heard, just communicate with your spouse. And self-compassion is very, very important. Self-acceptance, accepting that what are the root cause of the problem is not about assigning the blame. So it's very, very important when we understand that when a relationship goes wrong, it's not about being right. It's not about proving a point. It's all about standing your ground and saying, you know what, my relationship is not where it's supposed to be, and accepting your past and dealing with it so you can move forward, breaking the cycle in that relationship, identifying the root cause of the problem so that they don't repeat itself. And give yourself time to uncover the roots of the problems without comparing your relationship with other people. And it's very, very important not to compare your life with anyone. I taught my daughter, her GCSEs came out, she got really good grades that she did not expect. Really, when somebody is clever, you know you're clever, but there's some things that you can go beyond. So I've taught her that when whatever she does in life, she has to do it with love. Even if when she doesn't feel like doing it, if you love something, do it anyway. the relationship is like that. Even if you feel like you don't want to communicate with somebody, do it anyway. Communicate with that person. It starts with forgiving yourself. Forgiveness is very, very, very important. And that's why I will never, in my life, I will never date anyone that is abusive. I will never date anyone that controls my life, because my life is free. I'm this person that I'm free within my spirit. I like to see people doing things that they love to do. And if I don't see somebody doing the things that they love to do, trust me, I question. I'm like, you're very intelligent. Why not do this? And so I do all those things, and I don't want somebody to control me. So make sure a relationship, we understand that we don't control each other in a relationship. Breaking the chains, it means we all free. We all do the things that we love to do. And like right now, we are in this summer. The weather is beautiful. It's not today anyway. And when it's summertime, everybody's happy because people feel that they can do the things that they want. But winter time, you should be happy too. So you should be happy too. And so it's very, very important. Relationships are not easy to actually to maintain. Is very, very important. The time, give each other time, and also do your own thing. Let your spouse do their own thing, and then meet each other doing their own thing. Tomorrow we're going, somebody's doing this skydiving, but we're not gonna do the skydiving because we love this person so much that is doing skydiving. So we're gonna drive, and we apparently this place is guided army and stuff. So we're gonna drive and stay there. We don't know what's going to happen when we get there, and then he will get off and do his skydiving, and we're just going to have to wait, because when you love somebody, you support them, you're there for them, and that's what life is about. And you can't come with me when I used to love wrestling. I used to go and see wrestling live. I don't do it. I don't go watch it anymore. But if you go with me watching football, I go mad with everybody that is a football fan. You know, when you go to the stadium and you watch the game, you'll just go mad. So I'm just like that. Can you imagine it? I'm going to watch the football and I'm dating this person that does not like to see somebody becoming themselves, and they're like, don't do that, don't do that. No, I wouldn't be able to cope with that person, because when I go in, I just go mad. Going mad, like I get excited. I don't drink, but I just scream. I just support. Everybody does that when they go and watch sports. And so we all do that. People who watch sports, they know. So it's very, very important to make sure that you don't lose your identity. Through those habits, you keep your identity in a relationship. Sometimes people, they lose their identity, and when the relationship ends, they don't know what to do with themselves, because they feel that they invested so much in that relationship. For me, I know that in life, there are some things that we don't have control over. So I keep my identity. My identity is very, very important. And also active listening is very, very important. Use the I statement. Very, very important. Avoid blaming each other and blaming yourself and blaming your spouse. You did this. He did that. You did this. That did that. Don't blame yourself, or don't blame them. We're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. So avoid blaming each other when it comes to a relationship. Live with grace. Stay calm. Timing matters. Everything is all about timing. Communication is about understanding, not assigning fault. Don't put your spouse in a judgment court of justice. You did this, therefore. Don't put them that. Don't assign faults in their identity. Stay calm, be open to ended questions. It's very, very important. Validate feelings, acknowledge your spouse, their emotions, even if you don't necessarily agree. Don't pretend. Be genuine, be authentic, and use we language as well. I and we, because in relationship there is I, there is we. And practice patience, be patient, and express appreciation. Understand the power of gratitude, and seek compromise, but not too much compromise. And be open to feedback. As I tell you guys, me, I get told that I'm annoying. People tell me that I'm annoying in people that when I'm in a relationship. My ex said, Nomsa, you are the most annoying person, but you get things done. I do. I know that if I don't get things done, no one will. If my daughter has meetings at school, I don't want the guy to miss out. So that's why I chase. On this date, remember the meetings. On this date, remember your daughter, there's a play. Remember on this date. In that way, people cannot turn around and blame you and for not involving them. Or if my daughter has important meetings at school, if he is available, he comes. If he tells me that he is not available, I rebook the appointment to when he is available. That's my attitude. You are not available on this date. I'm not gonna go on my own. I rebook the appointment. When he is available, then we turn up. Because it's important to go through that journey. Now my daughter, she's 16 anyway, so things are better. But when children are young, when you're splitting up with somebody, children are young, sometimes it can be really, really difficult. And sometimes people, they talk, but me, I don't have time to talk. I don't have time to say, you did this, who did that. I got time to fix things, because I can't fix things that I don't have control over. I cannot fix it. But there's one thing that I can fix, is the present moment. The past, I can't. So it's very, very, very important to actually be in the present moment, and your identity and knowing who you are as a person. Don't just follow, be a follower. When somebody says something, you follow into those words. Sometimes some battles, they're not meant for us. I choose how I respond to people. And that's why sometimes people say I'm annoying, but I'm not. I'm not, because in that way I help people. I help somebody build a relationship with. He has a good relationship with his daughter. Now I'm in a position where even going on holiday, he knows that if there is a holiday that he needs to go with his daughter, I'm not standing in his way. He has to book that holiday. As long as I get told on this day we are not available, so I can work with my plans. So I'm okay with that. There are no, oh, wow, why didn't you tell me? Or why didn't you do this? No, it has to be done, because people make excuses. Women, if there's a woman out there, if you split up with somebody, if somebody tries to fight you, please don't go through that fight, because when you go through the fight, people tell pokies. And they'll say, oh, I'm not involved with my child because your mom said this or because your father said this. Me, I'm like, no fight. You get involved or you don't. So that's why I've been called that I'm annoying, but I'm not. So, and that's how I see it in life. So you have to know how to break the chains. The chains of a relationship, it means when it's hurting, you have to find a way to forgive and move on with your life. So that is very, very important to move on and not to hold a grudge, be reliable with each other, actively listen, and also celebrate your achievement in a relationship. Celebrate each other, avoid judgment. Boundaries are very, very important. Apologize and forgive, and have some quality time. Share decision making. When you're making a decision, share those decisions with each other, and express appreciation. I covered independent. Celebrate your differences in a relationship, and when you celebrate your differences, it makes a big difference in somebody. It makes it makes somebody like myself. I have my own business. I'm independent. I'm an independent woman, but when it comes to men, I let men do their duties. I let them feel like a man. I don't, my CEO is in the office, but when I'm at home, I'm not a CEO. I'm a NOMSA, a spouse, I'm a mother. I don't see all my children. I don't know control no one. Do you know what it means to be answering phone calls all day, solving problems, and matching people, making sure that they find the love that they want? And when I get home, I have to do this. Oh, no, thank you. I want love when I get home. I just want to have a hug. I just want to eat good food. I just want to have a cuddle with my children. I just want to have a cuddle with my spouse. I don't want to manage nobody. So those are the things that are important in life. By some people, they manage at home and then it work, and then they come home, they want to control again. So me, I don't do that. I come home, I want a good food. What's in the fridge? Is there any good food in the fridge? I want to sit down. I want to relax. I just want to find out what everybody has been doing. And that's all I need to do. I don't need to manage somebody or to say, you know what, I have a job, I'm better than you. Oh no, I don't do those things. So for me, a man is a man. We let him think he's a man. So that's what I do. It's not perfect, but it's okay with me. So, and we reinforce positivity. It's very, very important. 14 minutes past. Very, very important to reinforce positivity and observe, share your feelings, share what you are feeling. And also, guys, learn somebody else's world. Your world as well. Share your world, your real world. Share your real world with everybody, with your spouse. What is your real world, authentic world, not the fake one? So what it helped me with the relationship before, I'll pretend to be something that I'm not. But then I realized that actually it doesn't work. I have to communicate my needs. I have to let somebody know what I'm feeling. And once I let the other person know what they're feeling, then my relationship will work. So it's very, very important. Like I love God. When I pray, sometimes there are times where I go mad when I get sick, and then I'm understanding that I'm getting sick, but the sickness is not real. I go mad when I'm praying sometimes. And when I just go mad, I go mad with ancestors. So that's why. Because sometimes the pollution on air it can be really, 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 really. That's why I think if you listen to Bob Proctor's teaching, that's why when he teaches, says you can create your own paradigm how you want, so you can actually avoid sickness. So, but you have to know how the universe work. You have to understand it. It's a long story. It's a really, really long story. As a Christian, I didn't know that there's something that exists in the universe. It was when I got confronted by Jesus' son. I was a sinner, and then I decided I'm gonna fast for 40 days, and then he appeared to stop me actually moving in, going to his father. That's when he opened my eyes. I was like, so you exist. So, and then we got to know each other, because I had to fight the battles myself then. So when I'm fighting those battles through that journey, that's when I realized actually the sickness doesn't exist. He's the one that actually makes people sick. So that moment, that when I started, because I got to an understanding, then I started questioning my pastor. Why does this happen? Why does it do this? So he started explaining. So it's a very, very long story that if I have to explain to you, you got to understand. If I do explain, you think Nomsa is crazy. So it's a very, very, very long story. But if you want to understand it, if somebody is a Christian, you can follow Dr. Olokoya on YouTube, or sometimes he's on Facebook as well. But he does most of his live on YouTube. So if you follow him, he's the one that talks step by step on how the universe works, the real everything. That if I had listened to him before I got the experiencing God is Son, I would have said maybe that scary is a liar. But I went through it myself. And after I went through it, and I was like, now I'm not scared of anything. If I can be confronted by a God, what else can I be scared? So that's why when I'm in a relationship, there is this respect with my spouse, where I respect him as a person, because I know what's on the other side of the mountain. And before, I was somebody who prays to God, and I didn't know what God was. I just read the Bible. But when I came face to face, having a choice, now I have two people, where Lucifer offers me the world that I cannot refuse. He says, Nomsa, you want to be a millionaire? I'll make you a billionaire. You want to have millions of followers? I give you millions of followers. Whatever you desire in life, I will give it to you. And then I have God now. He says, Nomsa, I give you love, unconditional love, whatever you need. Meaning, he did not give me the list like his son did, but for him, it was like, I give you love. If I give you love, it means I love you as my child, and you can be anything you want to without him giving me the list. So those two worlds, I came to meet them not as a lie. I came to meet them one day when I have time. Actually, I will one day on my show, I will bring the psychiatric doctor that actually saved me. When they called him, he was like, she is not lying. She's not sick. She's not lying. All I'm going to do is, as a man, he's English. He was like, we have traveled around the world. I'm going to support her. She needs her parents. honestly, because people were like, there is no way. Who is she that can connect with God and Lucifer? Who is she? I was talking to them and making a choice, deciding who. I wasn't deciding who to follow because I knew that in my heart was with God. This one that was promising me billions and billions, I was like, what's the catch? There's always a catch. Whatever you do in life, there's always a catch. So that's what I chose. So when I'm talking about everything that I come here on show and talk about it as an experience, when when I talk about the spiritual world and physical world is where, and I didn't know that I had those capability. So I find myself now, I have these people that I like, who is she? Talking to God himself, talking to Lucifer. No, that cannot be real. But this guy, he saved my life because he trusted me. One day I'll bring him on the show and interview him and just ask why did he actually had that courage. But it was all God. Why did he have the courage to say no to everybody? There was police, there was social services. Somebody just sold me out while I was in the moment. I was in the moment of choosing which path to take, and somebody sold me out. And they said, you know what, we think she's gone bonkers, she's crazy, but the guy made it the right choice, and that's why I'm here today. So one day when I have time, guys, I will bring him in to the show, and I can interview him and then ask him questions. What made him actually decide to say she is actually, I've experienced it. What was his experience? Because I don't know until you ask somebody. I've never had a chance. I did meet him for the second time because he wanted to meet me for the second time. So I did meet him. And when I met him, he was like, I just wanted to let you know that I have your back and I love you. And I hope the future is bright. And that's why ideas started coming up. And that's why I started becoming the person that I am becoming. Like right now, it was because of him. I didn't know how to that I can do things that I wanted to do. But that is life. So when you are in a relationship, you have to understand that there is a high power out there that can help you to become the person that you want to become in a relationship. Do not fear. Don't fear or think that this person is going to leave me if I communicate my want. Your spouse is your best friend. When you select somebody, pick somebody that is your best friend. That can be a friend, that can be your champion, your queen and your king. So that's what I say relationship. When you are in a relationship, you are not dating an enemy. So you should be able to communicate with your spouse. God bless everyone. So now you guys, you can go on my website. And when you go on my website, you can buy my book. I have a book on the website that I think has been published. So I think it's been set up. You can buy it online through the website, and you can book your coaching. The website is up. You can book coaching if you want coaching. You want, we have at Hope Spring, it's an introduction agency. We have coaches at Ngosi Talk Show. It depends where you want to go, find your own voice. Or even if you're looking for love, we have coaches. James Pierce, he is a celebrate coach. So you can find him there if you're somebody who is struggling to find love and you don't want to join the agency, you can't afford me. I am very expensive. I'm not cheap. I'm not gonna lie to you. So if you cannot find me, you cannot afford to register within me, you can register as a free client, which is, you'll still be a priority, but not as a paid client. So, or if you want to be coached by coaches, then you can go online and find love. You don't have to go online anyway. I teach you the secret of not to go online to find love if you're single. Everybody seems to think that if you are single, you have to go online. That's where you find love. No, that's not true. So if you get coached by me, I'll teach you the secret of finding love. The secret of finding love is very, very simple. I went online myself when I was starting my business because I wanted to see the difference between the matchmaking and the dating industry, how it works. And also I thought that's where I was going to find true love, but I didn't in the end. I found love found me when I wasn't looking for it. High street. So I teach you those the secret of how to find love, and without going to the apps. If you just want coaching, you can join the agency. It's not expensive to be coached, to actually understand the